Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today we're going really deep, like to the core of things.
Oh, yeah?
Down to the evolution of your own consciousness.
Right.
We're going to be looking at ancient Indian wisdom, some modern practices,
Yeah.
and, looking at things like meditation, energy work, see how that can sharpen awareness and really unlock potential you might not even know you have.
I think what's so fascinating about this is how what we're finding out now in modern research really complements these very ancient traditions and practices and understandings.
Yeah.
And we're essentially talking about how intentionally shifting your inner landscape, right, can dramatically alter your experience of reality.
Absolutely.
So in this deep dive, we really want to tease out the most valuable nuggets of these, traditions and see how they might resonate with you directly.
Exactly. We're going to be tackling some big ideas today, like moksha.
Oh, yeah.
Which is this profound liberation that's so central to many Indian spiritual paths.
Right.
We're also going to look at the science.
Yes.
That's actually revealing why meditation is such a powerful tool.
Powerful.
We'll explore the idea of Kundalini Shakti,
Yes.
this dormant divine energy within us.
Uh-huh.
And we'll even talk about how balancing masculine and feminine energies can lead to greater harmony within us.
That's right.
So for our listeners out there, all of you who really want to get to the heart of things quickly and thoroughly, we promise, some surprising insights today, practical takeaways without getting bogged down in complexity.
We want to make it a very clear and engaging journey for you.
Exactly.
To understand these concepts and see how you can actually integrate them into your own life.
Okay, let's get started with our first focus. Meditation, how it can actually elevate your consciousness. I mean, that's a big one, right?
That is.
So what is it about meditation that can have this effect?
So from the Indian perspective, meditation isn't just about relaxation. It's really a path towards liberation or moksha.
Right.
It's about moving beyond the limitations of our everyday thinking mind and tapping into a deeper level of reality.
So one of the texts that we looked at, the Yoga Sutras of Rishi Patanjali, it describes how consistent meditation can lead to samadhi, which is, it's this incredible state of bliss and oneness with something far greater than ourselves.
It really is transformative. And what's really amazing is how modern neuroscience is beginning to validate this ancient understanding. I mean, studies have shown that deep meditation actually lights up the prefrontal cortex of the brain.
Wow.
And that's the area that's responsible for higher level functions, reasoning, compassion, and self-awareness.
So these ancient sages kind of knew what was happening in the brain?
They had an intuitive grasp before we had the technology to see it.
All those centuries ago.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
It is.
But let's be honest, for a lot of us, I mean, I know even myself, sometimes I find meditation really challenging.
Of course.
Your mind races, you feel restless.
Right.
It's not always that serene experience we imagine.
That's a very common and perfectly normal experience.
Okay.
The aim of meditation isn't necessarily to achieve this completely blank mind.
Right.
That's often unrealistic.
Okay.
It's really about developing a different kind of relationship with your thoughts.
Okay.
It's learning to observe them without getting caught up in their stories.
Okay.
Or judging yourself for having them.
Right.
This is a skill that develops with practice and patience.
So for someone listening right now who's thinking, okay, this sounds interesting, I want to try this.
Yeah.
How do I begin?
Yeah. What's a practical, beginner-friendly meditation they can try?
Yeah.
So a great starting point is really just finding a quiet space where you can sit comfortably.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, sitting on the floor with a cushion or in a chair. Just make sure your spine feels relatively straight.
Okay.
You can then gently close your eyes and bring your full attention to your breath.
Okay.
Just start to notice the natural rhythm of your breathing. And then begin to consciously slow it down.
Okay.
Taking deep, gentle inhales through your nose.
Okay.
And long, soft exhales through your mouth.
Simple enough to get started.
Exactly.
Now, what about using a mantra during meditation?
Right. So a mantra is essentially a word or a sound that you silently repeat to help focus your mind.
Okay.
It gives your mind something to gently anchor onto.
Right.
The sources we looked at suggested
Yeah.
which is considered a primordial sound.
Right.
Or so.
Yeah.
And so hum is really interesting because it's said to naturally resonate with the breath. So on the inhale, on the exhale.
Okay.
And when your mind wanders,
And it will.
it will. Yeah. Having a mantra provides a gentle way to redirect your attention back to the present moment without frustration.
Right.
You can think of it like a gentle anchor in the stream of your thoughts.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, there's also Tritaka, or candle meditation.
Yes, so this is a more visually focused form of meditation.
Okay.
And the technique involves holding a steady, unblinking gaze on the flame of a candle for as long as it feels comfortable. When your eyes begin to water or feel strained, you can gently close them and then try to maintain your focus on the after image of the flame as it appears behind your eyelids. And this practice is said to have several benefits. It can sharpen your focus and concentration, calm a restless mind. And in some traditions, it's believed to activate the third eye chakra.
Wow.
Which is associated with intuition and inner perception.
Interesting.
It's a powerful way to train your attention.
Okay, so let's move on to our second area here. Kundalini Shakti. Yes, for those who've never encountered this idea before, what is it?
So Kundalini is often described as this dormant, powerful, divine energy that resides at the base of the spine. And the idea is that this energy has the potential to awaken and rise upwards through the body's energetic centers, known as chakras, ultimately leading to these higher states of awareness and consciousness. And it's often symbolized as a coiled serpent, representing its untapped and potent nature. You can think of it as a wellspring of potential energy waiting to be awakened.
And the material we looked at shared this story about Swami Vivekananda.
Oh, yes.
And his experience with his guru, Sri Ramakrishna. And a sudden awakening of this Kundalini energy.
Yes, a powerful story.
What happened there?
So it's said that when Vivekananda received a blessing from Sri Ramakrishna, he experienced this profound and immediate surge of this energy. And it led to this incredibly expanded state of consciousness.
Wow.
Where he felt this deep and direct experience of the interconnectedness of all things.
Wow.
A sense of oneness with the universe.
That sounds like a really life-altering experience.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, the sources also emphasize the importance of approaching Kundalini awakening safely.
Why is that so critical?
Because Kundalini is a very potent force. And if it's awakened prematurely or without proper preparation and guidance, it could potentially lead to imbalances or overwhelming experiences, both energetically and psychologically. So it's generally advised to approach Kundalini practices with respect, and often under the guidance of someone experienced in these traditions.
So what are some of the safer, more accessible methods for working with this energy?
Well, pranayama, or yogic breathing, is consistently mentioned as a safe and effective way to begin engaging with this Kundalini energy. Specific breathing techniques can really help to purify the energy channels within the body, creating a more balanced and receptive environment for Kundalini to awaken and rise harmoniously.
Now, one specific pranayama technique that was detailed is Nadi Shodhana alternate nostril breathing. Can you walk us through that?
Sure. Begin by finding a comfortable seated posture. With a straight but relaxed spine. Then, using your right hand, gently close your right nostril with your thumb. Inhale slowly and deeply through your left nostril. At the peak of your inhalation. Close your left nostril with your ring finger. And release the pressure on your right nostril. Exhale slowly and completely through your right nostril. Then inhale through the right nostril, close it again, and exhale through your left nostril. Continue this alternating pattern of breathing for about 5 to 10 minutes. And the key benefit of Nadi Shodhana is that it helps to balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And purify the nadis, which are subtle energy pathways in the body.
Interesting.
Much like, blood vessels carry blood. Keeping those pathways clear allows for a smoother flow of energy, which is considered beneficial for overall well-being and a balanced awakening of Kundalini.
That sounds like a good practice to incorporate. Now, there's also this more advanced technique, Bhramari Pranayama, or B-breath.
Bhramari Pranayama is a really interesting practice. You gently close your eyes, take a deep inhale, and as you exhale, you create this soft humming sound, like the buzzing of a bee. You can even gently close your ears with your index fingers to amplify the internal resonance of the sound. And the vibrations produced by this humming are said to have a very powerful calming effect on the brain and nervous system.
Wow.
Quieting mental chatter and potentially opening the door to higher states of consciousness.
Interesting.
It's quite a unique sensation.
It's amazing how sound and breath can have such an impact on our inner state.
It is, isn't it?
All right, let's move on to our third area here.
Okay.
Balancing masculine and feminine energies within each of us.
Yes.
This is something I find really fascinating.
It's a really core principle in many spiritual traditions.
Right.
Particularly within Indian philosophy.
Yeah.
And, the masculine aspect is often represented by Shiva, who embodies stillness, pure awareness, and wisdom.
Right.
The feminine aspect is represented by Shakti, who embodies dynamic energy, creativity, and the life force itself.
Right.
And it's important to understand that these aren't strictly tied to gender, but rather universal energies that exist in everyone, regardless of their physical form.
Right.
True wholeness comes from finding harmony between these two fundamental forces within us.
Now, the material also talked about the symbolism of Lord Ardhanarishvara.
Right.
What is that all about?
Well, Ardhanarishvara is this powerful and beautiful depiction of a deity who is literally half Shiva and half Shakti. Fused together in a single form. And this iconic representation beautifully illustrates the essential unity and interdependence of these seemingly opposite energies. It serves as a reminder that true wholeness and spiritual evolution come from acknowledging, integrating, and balancing both the stillness of consciousness and the dynamism of creative energy within ourselves.
So how can we actually work towards bringing more balance to these energies in our daily lives?
Well, if someone feels they have a dominant expression of what's considered masculine energy, perhaps feeling overly analytical, rigid, or disconnected from their emotional side, the sources suggest actively engaging in more intuitive and creative pursuits. This could involve things like dancing, painting, spending time immersed in nature, or any activity that allows for spontaneity, emotional expression, and just, being in the flow.
What if someone feels a stronger pull towards the feminine energy?
Okay, so in that case, the sources recommend focusing on practices that cultivate structure, discipline, and a sense of grounding. This could involve setting clear goals and developing a plan to achieve them. Practicing grounding yoga poses that help you connect with your physical body, or engaging in activities that require mental focus and organization. It's about cultivating that inner stability and direction.
Those are some really great tips. Now, the material also mentioned chakra meditation as another avenue for balancing these energies. How does that work?
So chakra meditation involves bringing your conscious awareness to the 7 primary energy centers located along the spine, starting from the root chakra at the base, and moving upwards to the crown chakra at the top of the head. You can visualize each chakra as this vibrant wheel of energy, each associated with a specific color and often a seed mantra. By focusing your attention on each chakra, visualizing its corresponding color, and perhaps silently repeating its mantra, you can help to harmonize the flow of energy within these centers. And since each chakra is also associated with certain aspects of our being, including masculine and feminine qualities, this practice can really contribute to a greater overall balance.
That sounds like a really holistic approach to inner balancing. Now, our final segment takes us to the ultimate aim of this journey, which is moksha. For those who might not be familiar with this term, what does moksha truly entail?
So moksha, at its core, signifies liberation. And it's liberation from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, as well as liberation from the limitations imposed by the ego and the illusions of the material world. It's often described as a state of ultimate freedom, profound peace, and a deep sense of union with the divine or the ultimate reality. Think of it as breaking free from all that binds us to suffering.
Now, the Bhagavad Gita, which is this central spiritual text, what are its key teachings regarding the attainment of this liberation?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita emphasizes that true self-realization is the fundamental key to achieving freedom. It teaches that by understanding our true nature, which lies beyond the temporary and illusory aspects of the material world, and by detaching ourselves from the outcomes of our actions, we can actually transcend suffering and move towards liberation.
So it's about recognizing the eternal
Yes.
in the temporal.
Exactly.
Now, the sources also highlight Krishna's teachings to Arjuna about detaching from material illusions and cultivating surrender to the divine.
Right.
How does that fit into this path towards moksha?
Well, Krishna's teachings underscore the importance of recognizing the impermanent and ever-changing nature of the material world.
Right.
And the limitations of identifying solely with our ego and our physical body by cultivating a sense of detachment from worldly desires and the result of our actions, and by developing a deep sense of surrender and trust in a higher power or the divine order. We can begin to loosen the grip of karmic cycles and move closer to that state of ultimate liberation.
And a simple daily practice mentioned for progressing towards moksha is japa meditation.
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that?
So japa meditation involves the repetitive chanting of a mantra, often with the aid of a mala, which is a string of prayer beads, typically containing 108 beads.
Right.
You hold the mala, and with each repetition of your chosen mantra, you move from one bead to the next. The sources suggest some powerful mantras like Om Namah Shivaya or Hare Krishna. And the essence of the practice isn't just the verbal repetition. It's about deeply focusing your mind on the vibration and the inherent meaning of the mantra. Cultivating a sense of surrender to the sound and the divine energy it embodies. And that rhythmic repetition helps to quiet the incessant chatter of the mind and align your consciousness with their more refined frequencies.
It seems like all these practices we've talked about today, meditation, breath work, bringing balance to our inner energies, they're all deeply interconnected.
They are.
And ultimately contribute to this journey of living with greater awareness, moving beyond the limitations of our ego, and experiencing a more profound sense of unity.
Precisely. They're all valuable tools that can help us to peel back the layers of illusion that obscures our true nature, guiding us step by step closer to that ultimate state of liberation.
Moksha.
Moksha.
Wow, this has been a really enlightening deep dive.
It has.
And for you, our listener, I encourage you to try incorporating at least one of these meditation or breathwork techniques into your daily routine. Even if it's just for 5 minutes to start.
That's all it takes. You know, you might be surprised by the impact it can have on your energy levels and your overall sense of well-being.
Absolutely. And remember, spiritual growth is a journey, not a race.
That's right.
Be kind and patient with yourself. Start with small, manageable steps and aim for consistency in your practice.
Exactly.
You know, every mindful breath, every moment of focused awareness, it's a step forward on this path.
Absolutely.
And if you found this exploration insightful, please share it with others who might be on a similar path. Let's create a ripple effect of consciousness together.
That's a beautiful sentiment. And, you know, something for you to think about. Perhaps taking some time to reflect on which of your own inherent qualities and tendencies lean more towards the principles of Shiva. That stillness and awareness, or Shakti, that dynamic and creative energy, could offer even deeper insights into your own unique journey towards balance and greater self-awareness.
Until our next deep dive, stay curious. Stay connected to yourselves and embrace the incredible potential that resides within each and every one of you.
Namaste. Namaste.